Hey, this is David Plotz, CEO of CityCast. I have a favor to ask before we get to today's conversation. We're doing our annual listener survey, and it would really help us out if you took it. And even if you took it last year, we'd be grateful if you took it again, because we can't use last year's data. Please go to citycast.fm/survey to take the survey. It's only 7 minutes long, we know, because we timed it. That's citycast.fm/survey. And when you take the survey, you'll also be eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and CityCast swag, that great CityCast swag. citycast.fm/survey.
The rent is too damn high. The cost of eggs, too damn high. Auto insurance, also too damn high. And we're covering it all on our Friday News Roundup. Today in CityCast Las Vegas, I'm here with Channel 8 morning anchor John Langler and my co-host David Figler. And we're getting into how an obscure Nevada law is contributing to the rising price of eggs, why auto insurance rates are also soaring, and the Museum of Ice Cream is coming, because ice cream always makes it better. It's Friday, January 31st. I'm Sarah Lohman, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. So before we get into the news, David Figler, you want to talk a little bit about membership.
Yeah, because it's so important. A pretty crazy time, I think everyone would agree in the media right now. But CityCast Las Vegas, we are here to stay, and nothing has changed about our mission. We started this podcast and our Hey Las Vegas newsletter because we want you to feel more connected to the city. We're here to explore those issues that matter in our community with empathy and curiosity. So we want you to help us keep this conversation going. We'd love to have you as a CityCast Las Vegas member because your support helps make our work possible. And, wait for it, we got a little gifty for everybody too. That's back. We got 24 of these beautiful CityCast Las Vegas tote bags to give away to the first 24 people who sign up today. They are big and roomy. I got mine in the mail. I was tracking it. I was so excited. And then it finally arrived. And yeah, she's a beaut. If you want to snag one of these, though, you got to hurry. And the only way to do that is to become a member at membership.citycast.fm. Be sure to include your mailing address at checkout so we could send you that tote.
Thank you so much, David.
Oh, yeah.
And John, welcome to the pod.
Thank you very much for having me back. I appreciate it. It's always fun to hang out with you guys.
Hey, John. Nice to see you.
It is fun hanging out. I do want to apologize for my voice, everyone. I have a pretty bad cold, but actually now that I hear myself, I think I might sound more adorable than normal. So you're welcome.
Adorable. Yeah. Stuffy adorable.
Adorable. Yeah.
It's a way of life.
So everything is expensive, you guys. Let's get into it. John, I feel like if I hear anyone else talk about eggs and the price of eggs, I'm going to scream. But I'm going to give you a special dispensation to tell us why eggs are so expensive right now. And then this is the last time anyone can speak of it, okay?
Okay, so after this, we're all done, right? No more talk about eggs ever again?
After this, we're all done. You all heard me. No one says the E word ever again.
After this, it'll be over.
Yeah.
Easy.
An egg certificate. All right, so yes, let's talk about it. Egg prices are high. Obviously, you've been to the grocery store, you've noticed, and it's a matter of supply and demand, really. It's all tied to the avian flu. It's been going on for several years now. Thousands of birds have been killed because of this, and because of that, there's fewer birds and fewer eggs. Latest numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics: an average price for a dozen eggs, this is nationwide, back in December, $4.16. That's up from $3.64 in November. But as you guys know, here in Nevada, it's worse because we passed a law back in 2021. Caged hen eggs cannot be sold here. So that just limits the supply and thus drives up the price. I checked online this morning and I saw eggs at some stores for about $7.49, $8 a dozen. And again, that's compared to the national average of about $4. So it kind of depends on where you shop. Bottom line, eggs are expensive. I know I get flashbacks to during the pandemic when there was no toilet paper around. This is just an ongoing issue, and it just seems to be more challenging if you're trying to save $1 at the grocery store.
So our eggs in Nevada are almost double the cost of the median egg prices nationwide. And some of that is because cage-free eggs are more expensive to raise. Is that correct?
Correct. Obviously, there's a health component to it. There's a humaneness component to it. So all of that adds up.
Some stores were even just straight up out of eggs, too. Like I was in Target the other day and they just didn't have any.
I was going to just say that too, Sarah. I've been seeing eggs coming and going, but here's a weird thing, and I haven't seen this referenced anywhere other than my own eyes at the Smiths in my neighborhood. No more 18 and 2 dozen, just only dozen eggs. Yeah, and they were, for the fancies, for the organic, roam the world with no cares, listen to the beautiful music of Taylor Swift all day. Eggs, I saw some for like $10 for a dozen.
Well, David, do you think that Nevada's 2021 cage-free egg law was a mistake?
I think that every law that this state passes could use a little look-see. I think unintended consequences are so prevalent that they can't possibly be unintended anymore. And then you get constituents who are going to be complaining to all their legislators about this. And I would not be surprised, mistake or not, that it is revisited in the upcoming legislature.
John, what do you think?
People care about those eggs.
People care about the eggs. Obviously, the law was passed before this current avian flu outbreak started. So, you can't necessarily predict that.
Right.
The motivation for, and again, Nevada's not the only state that has this cage-free egg law. Oregon, right. I think Washington, there's several states around the country that have the same legislation in place. But when something like this happens and the supply and demand becomes what it is, we end up, paying more. I don't imagine that'll be top on the list up at Carson City when the session starts on Monday. But overall, there's a desire to lower prices on everything right now with inflation. Right. This is a little bit different, but it certainly is something that's expensive. And even if they revisit it, the amount of mechanics that would go into trying to reverse a law that's been in place since 2021, that wouldn't be a quick fix.
It's a weird law, Sarah, in that, I think everyone got behind it because it's just cruel. It seems very cruel to kind of push all these birds into these little 67 square inch spaces, which is basically the size of an iPad. And so Nevada said, not only can't you do it if they're produced in Nevada, but any commercially produced egg sold in the state of Nevada, regardless of where that chicken laid that egg, must come from a cage-free facility.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth noting that those conditions for those chickens lead to avian flu outbreaks. When you have sick chickens that are all smooshed together, you have more illness. So in some ways, making sure that there are more cage-free laws might actually be helping the availability of eggs. Y'all know I'm a food person, and there's no one easy fix for our food system. I do think that all of the animals that we either eat or take products from should also lead an emotionally fulfilling life to a certain extent. I do believe in the
There's science behind your hippie take, right?
Oh,
I know there is. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I also believe in the emotional world of animals. Like, there's something going on in their brains, right? We should respect the animals we're eating. That being said, that kind of morality shouldn't only be available to wealthy people. Food should still be affordable. Food should be healthy. Food should be morally made, and it should be affordable. And again, that is a systematic change. There's no one solution. So that being said, everything is more expensive right now. The cost of living is very high. So, why have eggs, of all things, become a flashpoint? What do you think, John?
Well, I think it's because it's such a foundational food when people are making, whatever they make, breakfast. It's an ingredient in so many foods, as you know. So I think that's why it's expensive, because people buy them a lot, they use them a lot, and when they're crunching numbers, and as you say, the cost of living is going up in every facet, and you're buying eggs every couple of weeks, all of a sudden you're going to realize very quickly that's what's making what I buy at the grocery store more expensive. It's just, double the national average. So I think that's why it's such a staple that you notice it more.
Yeah, it's a staple that gets used up real quick, like gas. And, the most basic person trying to cook, they could always pull together eggs. It's so part of everyday ease. And you do see that change, and it is pretty dramatic, because if you're buying eggs, then they're $2, and then all of a sudden they're $7. You feel it. I get it.
And you, like me, are a baker, so cakes are pretty expensive right now.
Eggs have to be in all the doughs.
At the same time, there are other things to eat, and I didn't let it affect how I voted in this election. Hey, chickens, get well soon. We love you.
How about quail eggs? Can we put a bunch of those together and make an omelet?
I thought about that, but I think they get avian flu, too. I was like, turkey eggs, maybe we go to reptile eggs.
I don't
Snake
know that I've
eggs?
ever seen a turkey egg. I want reptile eggs, though.
Reptile eggs? Oh, man.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm thinking of the old TV show Dinosaurs. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I'm the baby.
Start my own Gila Monster egg business. I don't think so. I think they're endangered.
Chance,
lay us an egg.
Your best friend.
My bestie.
Winter, a time filled with outdoor fun and games. Until a pipe freezes and bursts. Don't let winter weather burst your pipes. Mow & Flow monitors your home's water and shuts it off automatically.
Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike big wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
So if you thought eggs were expensive, they are. The price of eggs rose 36.8% in the last year. But the second highest price increase in the past year was motor vehicle insurance at 11.3%. Okay, David, I know that the auto insurance companies don't have avian flu, so what is going on?
second only to eggs. It's funny how it all kind of comes together here in Las Vegas. In 2024, the average cost of car insurance in Nevada was $2,900 and change. And that's
already
a lot.
Expensive, yeah.
And now it's projected to go up 8%. So people are going to be paying over $3,200. I mean, if you think about it, that's almost $300 a month for car insurance. I think everyone knows that Las Vegans typically have really bad drivers. That's why there's so many of these billboards for personal injury, is because there's constantly collisions. I see them every day. I think everyone does. And that, I think, is a direct result in why it's so high here. According to a recent report that came out from Insurify and the National Association of Insurance Commissioners have been tracking this. And yeah, we got a lot of problems. Now, there are some theories. All the bad driving. I would say that all the bad driving goes hand in hand or bumper to bumper with all the various construction projects that seem to have no rhyme or reason very often. According to Insurance Business Magazine, which I'm sure we all subscribe to, they say that the relaxed alcohol laws and the high number of Vegas partygoers also drives up auto insurance costs.
Okay, so does that mean that we as Las Vegans are paying the price for tourists having a good time? John, how do you feel about that?
The one thing I will say very quickly is a lot of studies, I don't necessarily dispute the studies, but so many studies get done that reference Las Vegas, and they're so biased with regards to the resort corridor because it's being done from someplace elsewhere in the country. So there's no sort of connection to the valley. You know, we live here, obviously, and we have a fair idea versus, it's just the partygoers. It seems like it's a low-hanging fruit. Not to diminish the fact that there's 24-hour bars everywhere. So there's all these other things that are components. David, you mentioned it. On the morning show at Channel 8, we show car crashes all the time. It's really unfortunate and it's terrible. But as long as I've lived here, which is a long time, car insurance has always been expensive in Las Vegas. That doesn't mean it should be. But when I moved back to town 8 years ago from Seattle, my car insurance, I think, doubled, maybe tripled, and it hasn't gotten any better. The way I rationalized it was that everything else was cheaper, but still, I think it's too easy to lean on its partygoers and it's the lax alcohol laws. There has been a problem with driving behavior and the way our roads are structured for way too long, and it's been very hard to get a fix.
I want to just jump in really quick. when the reports say lax alcohol laws, I think understandably people's minds jump directly to DUI driving. But I don't know that it necessarily means like our DUI laws aren't hard enough or that we have a lot of arrests for DUI somehow increasing. I think that it's more of a holistic thing. Like you get access to alcohol here 24/7. We don't have mandatory shutdown times like other places. We don't have dram shop laws, which are basically the kind of laws that hold bartenders and bars responsible if they serve someone who's drunk and then that person goes out and causes a collision or an accident or something like that. There's a lot of like discussions about alcohol in our community that don't happen. And then when these kind of studies come out, they put the blame on the alcohol.
I would also say and this isn't to rationalize it, obviously, but compared with a lot of other big cities, Las Vegas's mass transit isn't as accessible. I mean, the bus is always there, of course, but I feel like it's just sort of been the way it's always been in Las Vegas, where not a lot of people ride the bus and people say, I can just go ahead and it doesn't excuse it, of course, but it all adds up to the fact that more people drive, which means there's more of a chance of people crashing, which means auto insurance is higher.
And let's not forget, 40 million plus people come here, a lot of them in their cars. A lot of them are not familiar with our driving laws or how our streets work, and they're getting involved in stuff too.
Which are messed up.
So, I mean, we could blame California as much as alcohol because they're all driving here. Car culture.
I mean, to be fair, though, if someone's coming here as a tourist, then they're going to the Strip and they're parking their car in the MGM lot and it's not moving for the weekend, right?
Maybe. Or they're trying to drive up and down Vegas Boulevard because you've seen that traffic and it's rarely Nevada plates.
All right, fine. We don't have statistics on that. But in general, like the Strip is a bubble, right? But if you live here, we're the ones that we do have to drive everywhere. We don't have a legit public transit system. Don't worry, everybody. We've got Tesla tunnels. They'll save us. So are there other steps? Like if you drive less, if you estimate you're driving less, you can pay a little less on insurance. Are there other steps we can take to be slightly less car reliant? I admit I chose a somewhat walkable neighborhood, but I still drive all the time. I don't know if there are other solutions.
I think first step is you probably should look at your insurance policy and talk to an agent and see if there's some deductions for good driving behavior or bundling or all the different ways you could get that down, because that number is really high. And I'd hate to see people not being insured, which is probably another problem in Las Vegas, then going for those discounts or whatever if they are going to rely on their car. But yeah, you were smart, Sarah. You went to a place where you can walk.
Yeah. It's a New Yorker in me, you know?
Well, and I live in the arts district, so I love being able to walk around all the time. But I would say also, David, you brought up a good point about people not having insurance. And that is a big problem in Las Vegas that we've talked about a lot here at 8 News Now is trying to catch people that don't have insurance. It's almost impossible unless someone gets into a crash. Of course, you're not going to just pull someone over and say, show us your insurance. Right. So that is a problem, is when it gets so high like this, people just don't get insurance.
I have the best tip of all, though, and that's the tip that everyone gives people who move to Las Vegas, which is if you want to avoid higher insurance because of accidents, always count to 5 when your light turns green before you proceed into the intersection.
Smart. That is, my mom taught me that rule back in Ohio, too. That's in everywhere.
Always. Here in Vegas. It might be count to 10 nowadays.
And you know what? I have Geico, and I let them stalk me while I'm driving for a discount. I opted in on that, and I hate it. I actually turn off location services as much as possible, but I also can't. It was like $300 less, so I can't afford not to have them stalk me.
You know, I had that on my insurance, and I walk so often over to downtown areas and stuff that they thought that I was cheating, turning it off, and I just wasn't using my car.
I have to review it because I get penalized for using my phone, but it'll be when I'm a passenger. So I have to go back through it and be like, I wasn't driving. I was in an Uber.
Yeah.
Anyway, no solutions.
Technology has its limits.
I put less than 5,000 miles a year on my car, by the way. I'm that weirdo.
David, that is not the reason that I would think that you were that weirdo, but I'll come up with a list later.
Thank you. Wait, what?
It's all right. Weird is good. Weird is good. Speaking of weird, the Museum of Ice Cream is coming to Vegas. So,
I'm so glad. I have to say this.
What?
I'm so glad you pulled this topic because you are writing a book about ice cream for a major publisher that's coming out soon. And I got to say, there's no one better, I think, in Las Vegas to talk about this topic. That's all.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
Well,
you can call me weird. I'm going to call you an expert who is wonderful in everything that she does. So how you like that?
God, that was passive aggressive.
Yeah, no shit.
It was really
part of my weirdness.
Very well done. Very well done. I'm also surly this morning, so we'll see how this goes. Because I do want to start with saying, if you listen to our What's In and Out in 2025 episode with local artist Justin Favela, he declared that Museum of Blanks were out, and then literally the next day, the Museum of Ice Cream announced that it was going to open here. So this coverage is via Travel and Leisure or Travel and Leisure. The Museum of Ice Cream, this is an air quotes museum with other permanent locations across the country, including New York City, Chicago, and LA. But its largest location is going to be in Area 15 right here in Las Vegas. So the new location will include its iconic sprinkle pools, playgrounds, an epic ice cream buffet that the company is calling the world's first permanent dedicated ice cream buffet, costume parlors, and even an ice cream cake wedding chapel. And visitors can also sleep over in ice cream themed hotel suites, which is interesting because doesn't that mean that Area 15 will have to be categorized as a hotel? There's not hotel suites there now. But I've been in the New York City one. There was a museum section. One room had like shout outs to some of ice cream's most important innovators, had some historical ice cream scoops and things. Obviously, I spent the most amount of time there. But mostly it was an Instagram museum. You're just sort of moving through lavishly decorated spaces to take photos of yourself in. And then the other parts were very like kid focused. So like there were like playgrounds and things like that. My niece did call it the best museum she's ever been to, I think much to her mother's chagrin. There was a sprinkles pool, and I kind of laughed because there was like an adults-only hot tub sprinkle area that was for the influencers to take photos in without like the kids getting in their photos. I will say, Museum of Ice Cream, there was not enough ice cream. There could be more ice cream, and it was like pretty so like bulk ice cream. I have heard that the one in Chicago has custom flavors, though, including a Chicago-style hot dog flavor, which has been a big hit, but I didn't see any of that in New York. So I'm kind of curious, since this is Vegas, if they're going to lean into more of an adult experience or if it's still going to be geared towards kids. I guess that remains to be seen. What do you all think? Museum of Ice Cream? Yay or nay? Are you here for it or no?
I would say yay. I mean, I feel like, if it's at Area 15, chances are it's probably more adult themed.
Right,
just a hunch.
right.
But yeah, why not? I mean, who's getting hurt here? Everyone loves ice cream. I think it's go for it. We've got, of all the museums we have in town, the Museum of Ice Cream seems like the tamest one. We've got the burlesque one, the punk rock one, which is awesome.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of great museums around town, the Mob Museum. So ice cream fits right into that pocket.
Yeah.
On behalf of the lactose intolerant and lactose impatient community, of which I am a lifelong member, I don't care. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to say that right now. As long as there's no public funds going to it, because I think that there's some better projects. But it's not something that I'm interested in. So yay for the city, nay for me. That's all.
At every sort of like station where ice cream was served in the New York one, they had a non-dairy option, David. So they're thinking of you.
Non-dairy ice cream can really suck bad. I find that really only cashew milk is a good alternative.
No, coconut.
You're wrong,
we'll fight
but
about
it's okay. I'll fight you.
Because it's not the cashew milk, it's the stabilizers and emulsifiers that they're adding to it that give it the texture. So it's more about the brand. This is all getting cut.
Understood.
That being said, one of the best things that I had at the Museum of Ice Cream in New York was a really tangy sour cherry sorbet. That's the only like memorable ice cream, quote unquote, that I had. So David, you might be in luck.
Well, Sarah, I know you just recently went to the United Kingdom to learn about ice cream making
did.
origins, and you did stuff with molds and stuff. Like, that was so cool. I watched your posts on Instagram. I'm wondering if those type of activities will be at the Museum of Ice Cream or if it's just going to be an Instagrammy place.
I really don't know. I think that the other institutions have been very Instagrammy. I know about the Chicago specialty ice cream because I talked to a woman, another Sarah, who runs like a food development center in Oregon, and she's the one that developed that flavor specifically. That was their first location, though. So I don't know. Like, are we, I do feel tired of Instagram museums. I wish it was a museum of ice cream that also served ice cream. Like, what a fun opportunity to learn. But, like, are we just being snobby? Like, selfies and playfulness, that's okay, right?
I think it's okay to let people have their fun. Maybe the Instagramminess, the influencer stuff, if that's not our speed, fair enough. I agree with you, though. I think a proper ice cream museum, there's been, what's the dairy that's been here forever in Las Vegas?
Anderson!
Anderson's been here forever.
Yeah.
They should do something like this. There's a lot of other ways to do it without it being Instagrammy. Give you some actual education.
No, there's some good ice cream outlets in Las Vegas, too.
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
know that Vegas is a ice cream destination.
We're getting there.
Lovett Custard should just be a museum on its own.
Oh, love
delicious.
it. The highs and lows of Lovett's over the last 40 years. I could write a book.
I mean, to be fair, like, speaking of Area 15 as adult versus kids, like, Omega Mart during the day is really the place where, like, if you're with your kids in Vegas, you take them there. So it might also be a smart move to have, like, daytime ice cream museum, nighttime ice cream museum. But as we know, historically, like, selling Vegas as kid-friendly doesn't really work, that parents that are here with their kids don't spend as much money on alcohol and gambling. It feels like we've kind of sunsetted that time, so I'm curious how this new museum might play into that.
Yeah, see mid-90s.
Right, exactly. It feels a little mid-90s, John, to like be bringing this like kid-friendly environment.
I thought it worked. I'm sorry. I know
You
everyone
loved it.
naysays
You
it.
were a child.
There was some cool stuff around, and I think if they just would have, thought it a little bit better, it would still be around. I mean, Circus
Fair
Circus prevails. It persists.
Yeah, your favorite place where you spent your wayward youth. The second floor Circus Circus. We know.
True.
Listen to our Circus Circus episode, everybody.
And my multiple, if you piece together all my Circus Circus references over our 700 episodes of this podcast so far, I will give you my tote bag. If you could find them all. Find them all.
We talk about it a lot. Thank you, Circus Circus, for your service. So time to get a little speculative. If we were going to create the worst museum of blank that Las Vegas has ever seen, what would it be? I could go first while you're thinking.
Go.
Yeah.
So the first thing that came to my mind when I was thinking of this is the Museum of Coprolites. Coprolites are fossilized feces. And so that seems pretty awful. But then I was like, no, actually, I think I would love to go see that.
Wait, isn't there a poop museum somewhere nearby? I remember Rob writing about it in the newsletter.
Is there Poop Museum, Nevada?
That we had a fossilized poop museum nearby.
Oh, my God. Wow, I don't have to do it.
It might
then.
be on the Arizona side of like St. Thomas or something. I don't know where exactly it was.
It is in Arizona.
Yeah.
It just opened near the Grand Canyon.
Like Dolan Springs or something?
It's called the Pooseum. Ugh, road trip, David. Never mind. I'm excited. I'm going.
The worst museum already exists.
Yay! The worst,
Figures.
best museum. All right. What do you think? Who's next?
I think it'd be, well, see, but now I'm going to say I think it'd be interesting. I think the worst museum would be like a museum of lost and found from the strip resorts. All the bits and bobs that are left over.
I would
from
go
all
there
the,
every day.
I know that the more I say it, the more I'm like, that's actually not a bad idea.
There'd be a whole section of like prosthetic limbs.
Or prosthetic other things.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. All right, David, what's your worst/best museum in Las Vegas?
Oh, I have so many ideas, but I'm going to go with this one. The Museum of Gambling. Now, everyone says, why is there no museum of gambling in a place like Las Vegas? And I think that the actual answer is that it would be so depressing.
Oh, maybe.
It's sad.
But UNLV has
Because if you were truthful about, oh no, UNLV has some great stuff. They
incredible
have the
collection.
lab. But yeah, I mean, gambling through history is kind of interesting. All the machines, very much like my love for the Pinball Hall of Fame would be the
Yeah.
Slot Machine Hall of Fame. But if you did it right, a museum of gambling would be a very, very dark place as well. And so that would be the
Maybe.
worst thing for Las Vegas. People would go there and then they would immediately go home.
It could be about the material culture and art, though. Like, that's what I love about UNLV's gaming collections.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's the best worst museum.
Yeah, like their decks of cards, the dice, the historical slot machines. So cool.
The worst museum in Las Vegas would be the Museum of Dirt. It would just look very much like the undeveloped parts of outside.
Get behind that, too.
The Museum of Faded Glory, all the sort of, lounge acts and stuff that have
no, I
drifted in
would
and
go
out
to
of
that
town.
one too. Our worst are our best.
Oh.
You know what? I think
know,
we
it's
just
true.
figured out the code to Las Vegas. Everyone's worst is our best.
Yeah, like also literally in high school, I was on a competitive team where we would go into a pit and read layers of soil and like talk about what each of them. We placed third in the state. So I'm in for the Dirt Museum.
Out of how many, Sarah? I'm thinking there
Every
might have
high
only been
school.
2 competitors.
Every high school, it was highly competitive. I can't remember the name of it now.
Every high school had a dirt team.
It wasn't the Arboretum Club. It was the something Club. Yeah.
And
Dirt.
I'm the weird one. God bless everybody.
There were other
Good night.
parts of it. But the one I remember the most clearly is the dirt one because that was the most fascinating. They dug a pit and you just had to like memorize what the dirts looked like and what different things meant. And then you had to like write a report. Third in the state.
The Dirt Don't Hurt Museum. Come on in.
Shut up, Mrs. Gleason. You were a great chemistry teacher. All right, gentlemen. Well, I think we've all established we're weird except for John, who is absolutely normal.
Absolutely normal.
Hell
He's
yeah.
so normal, it's friggin' weird.
Full disclosure, he had a cookie for breakfast today, but also I do feel like that's fairly normal.
And Rice Krispie treats.
And Rice Krispie treats. I thought it was Rice Krispie cereal.
No.
John. It's all right. If he's out there doing the news, powered only by Rice Krispie treats and cookies, you can do it too. Thanks so much for joining us, David and John.
Thank you for having me.
Too much fun. I'm going to go make an omelet now.
$50 omelet. That's all for today here in CityCast Las Vegas. Our producers this week were Sonia Cho Swanson, Layla Mohammed, Natalie Rivera, and Lizzie Goldsmith. Our newsletter editor is Rob Kaltelreese, and our hosts are David Figler and myself, Sarah Lohman. Music is by OG Moose, Epidemic Sound, and All the Kimonos. We record this show in the traditional homelands of the Nuwuvi, the Southern Paiute people. If you enjoyed this show, why not tell a friend? Rate our show and leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Las Vegas. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Take care.
Hey, Sarah,
Yeah.
hook me up.
With Love It Custard? We
Yeah.
can go anytime, David.
No,
You know-
hook me up with a publisher, man. I want to write that sordid tale.
The tell-all tale.
The tell-all tale of Lovett's frozen custard.
We'll talk.